Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu Salam ala Rasulullah. So, inshallah, we'll continue our discussion on Quran, chapter number 4, Surah Nisa, verse number 131. And in fact, we were fortunate to listen to the recitation of the Quran, such a beautiful recitation. And in verse 131, once 131 and onward, you will notice there'll be some repetition, and in this particular chapter, the repetition emphasizes who owns everything. And you will see there are a couple of repetitions for a reason. In Arabic language, it's laid out slightly differently, but in English, you cannot really do the translation correctly exactly. So that's why you might see the same things are repeated. So I'm going to go through and I'll explain why they're repeated in that fashion. In 131, to God alone belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth. So God is telling us who owns everything, the dominion of everything. God has the dominion and the power over everything. Indeed, we have commanded those given the scripture, this is referring to Jews and Christians, before you as well as you, to be mindful of God. So God told Jews and Christians to be mindful of Him. Mindful is the word taqwa. God actually expected the same thing, that be cautious with your decisions. Be cautious when you're with your spouses. Be cautious with your friends and enemies. But if you disobey, then know that to God belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. So it's a repetition again. God owns everything. God controls everything. So God is telling us, even before you, God told the same thing to the previous nations, and because everything belongs to God. And God is self-sufficient and praiseworthy. The word self-sufficient means al-ghani. Ghani is somebody who doesn't need any support, any kind of help. God doesn't need any angels. God doesn't need any wind or water or any one of those things. Those are the creations for us. So God created these things to make it easier for us. God doesn't need any clerks or any secretaries to document things. But He created these things, even when on the day of judgment, some of us, we are going to say, I never did this. And there are angels documenting this just to make us satisfied. See, this was documented on the behalf. Number 132, to God alone belongs whatever. It's a repetition of the same thing. Whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth. And God is sufficient as a trustee of affairs. If it is His will, He can remove you altogether. This is a very strong statement. God can remove the entire humanity and replace with somebody else, another creation. Before humans, there were jinns living on this earth. Jinns still live here. Jinns are in this room. After the recitation from Hamza, they left this room. They are not physical people. They are not like us. They can penetrate the walls. They can create mischief. I know I talked to Sister Sonia about that one. They can move things around. They can harm you. Most of the time, they mind their own business. Just like birds and other creations, they mind their own business. Just like a wind. Wind doesn't really bother us. It's very beneficial, but it can harm us at the same time. So He can remove you altogether, O humanity, challenging the humanity, and replace you with others. So for God, it's, in fact, if you look at the bigger picture, and again, I have referred this many times, the entire universe is so large that we are pretty insignificant. We are absolutely no value whatsoever at all. The earth, 1.3 million Earths can fit in one sun. Earth is so small, 1.3 million Earths can fit in one sun. There are other suns in other galaxies, billion suns can fit in other suns. And guess what? The heavens are way larger. heaven, the paradise is way larger. So this is how significant this universe is. So we are pretty insignificant. In fact, we think we control things. And in 2025, at the end of the year, I'm going to remind you, remember so-and-so? Gone. Same thing happened in 2024. People in our families and friend circle gone. Young and old. We had a teacher here in OCS. If you remember the story I discussed with you, she went for hiking, she fell from the mountain, passed away. And her babies are small, 4 years old, 7 years old. So this is how life is. We are insignificant. You'll be lucky if the second generation remembers you, grandchildren remember. You'll be lucky. The third generation will not even know your name. They will not even know my name. This is how humans are. So God can replace with you others, and God is most capable to do so. It's not a negative thing. It's a piece of knowledge you need to have so you are in the right place. Your mind is in the right place. Number 134, whoever desires the reward of this world, then let them know that with God are the rewards of this world and the hereafter. There's nothing wrong getting the rewards from this world. There's nothing wrong saving $1 million, getting your dream house, whatever you want. But as long as you are also looking after for the rewards of the hereafter. God is all hearing, all seeing. So 135, O believers, stand firm for justice as witnesses for God, even if it is against yourselves. You will be standing in the court. Did you do this? This is something against your own self. Allah is saying you need to be on the justice. You need to be a witness against your own self. This is the order in the Quran. You did something bad, accept it. Your parents, they did something, you can be a witness against your parents or close relatives, your children, your spouses. This is the order of the Quran. You cannot be a liar. In Islam, being a witness, this is one of those sins. You cannot be a wrong witness or false witness. Be they rich or poor, God is best to ensure their interests. So do not let your desires, because that's what our system controls. We let our whims and desires control ourselves. Your desires cause you to deviate from justice. I know it's a hard thing to swallow. Sometimes you say it's okay to say a lie. It's okay to make a false statement. Islam says no. If you distort the testimony or refuse to give it, then know that God is certainly all aware of what you do. This has happened, and we have discussed in the last many months, many times. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it. There was an Ansar, there was a Muslim living in Medina, hid the armor in the Jewish household, so the Jewish person can be caught incorrectly, falsely, and God revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Muslim is the culprit, Muslim is the criminal, not the Jewish person. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the result. What's the word? Judgment against the Muslim. And he left Medina, he left Islam, because he thought Rasulullah is going to be lenient towards him. 136, O believers, have faith in God, His messenger, His book He has revealed to His messenger, and the scriptures He revealed before. Indeed, whoever denies God, His angels, His books, His messengers, and the last day has clearly gone far astray. Now here, remember the 6 pillars of faith. There are 6 pillars of faith. Believe in one God, believe in angels, believe in the scriptures, believe in the prophets, believe in the day of judgment, and believe in the qadar, the destiny. These are the 6 pillars of faith. In some places in the Quran, only 4 are mentioned, some 3 are mentioned, some 6 are mentioned altogether, some in different places, based on the context. I discussed that many times. Out of those 6 pillars of faith, 3 are the instrumental. Without those 3 pillars, you cannot be a Muslim. Those 3 pillars are believe in one God, believe in the text, the scripture, and believe in the day of judgment. Some scholars say believe in the prophet. The prophet was revealed with the text. I actually go one step further. If you don't believe in one God, nothing else matters. That is the core practice, the purpose of Muslims. Believe in one God. If God exists, assuming God exists, He's going to send somebody to guide us. Those are called prophets. If God exists, He's going to send some prophets and some scriptures, some text, so we can be guided. That's number 3. If God exists, there must be some kind of judgment. That is the day of judgment. If God exists, He must have some control on our destiny. That is the qadar. If God exists, He probably has created other creations. We call them angels. So understand, if you don't believe in the first one, nothing else matters. So here, some of those things are highlighted. I want to read, which Hamza read it very beautifully. I want to highlight something here in 136. 136, verse number 136. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu. Amenu. So amanu, amenu. It's a very strange kind of setup here. All believers, ya ayyuhallazina amanu, the people who believe, the believers. Whenever you hear this, and you hear this very frequently, the people who are the believers. Here Allah is telling us in Surah Nisa, the people who believe. This doesn't make any sense. Why Allah is saying, oh believers, believe? Imagine you tell another human, you tell and remind that human, guys, be human, be nice, be gentle. You tell your son, be my son. Everybody knows that's a human. Everybody knows that's your son. Everybody knows that's your husband. Why are you reminding it? Because humans tend to, even the believers tend to forget the purpose. God is reminding here, and many scholars, they actually mention this verse very frequently. Even God is telling the believers, believe. Be on the right path. Keep your senses intact. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, amenu. So just wanted to highlight that one in verse number 136. And in fact, if you read 136, that's what it says. O believers, have faith in God. That translation doesn't do the justice, but that's basically saying, believers, believe. That's what it's saying. O believers, believe. In 137, indeed those who believed, then disbelieved. Then believed. Then again there's disbelieved. Flip-floppers. So, I like this girl, she's Muslim, I believe. She leaves me, I disbelieve. I go to work, I meet another Muslim, I believe. She leaves me, I disbelieve. It's a game. Anybody who's sitting here for a person, you're attracted to a person and somehow you're going to find God, it doesn't work that way. That person might be a source, but ultimately your relationship with God should be straightforward, not through some kind of indentation, through some another source. Have a clear relationship with God. We are thankful for the friends, for the people who brought you to Islam, but at the same time, have a direct relationship with God. Believe, unbelieve, believe, unbelieve. This is 137. Indeed, those who believe, then disbelieve, then disbelieve, and again disbelieve. Only increasing in disbelief. Guess what God is warning? God will neither forgive them nor guide them to the right way. Guidance is only in Allah's hand. Nobody can guide you. No prophet can guide you. No miracle can guide you. Who could have more miracles than Jesus, peace be upon him? Who on this earth? How many people believed in his lifetime? 12 to 40 people. He thinks unbelievable things. He should have converted the entire face of the earth to Islam. He was a Muslim. He was a believer. How many people believed in him? Nobody. Hardly. Handful of the disciples. These things do not change anything. Only God gives the guidance. How do you get the guidance? You must have the heart. You're seeking for it. If I do not even want to work and Alex have work for me, I don't even want to work. How he can force me to work? It has to initiate it by you, then God guides those individuals. It's a very complicated issue. A lot of people say, well, how come I was born in a non-Muslim family and you were lucky you were born in a Muslim family? It doesn't work that way. I know a lot of Muslim scholars get upset when I say most of the Muslims will not enter paradise. And I get very angry messages, how dare you said so. That's what the Quran says. So being born in a Muslim family does not guarantee anything. You are the most fortunate and luckiest one that you found this path, and may Allah keep you on this path as well. So God will neither forgive them nor guide them to the right path. Also, I want to highlight that the hypocrites of every year have always enjoyed all the benefits conferred by Islam by professing with the tongue and normally joining the Muslim community. At the same time, they enjoy all the benefits from the non-Muslims as well. So it's going to come in next few verses how the hypocrites took advantage. And I can, because I'm recording, I cannot mention those specific people. First of all, we are not allowed to mention specific people, but you can see them so clearly what the Quran is going to tell you. And you can see it so clearly. Give good news, a painful punishment to hypocrites. This is one of the style God is telling them. That's what they believe. The hypocrites believe they are too clever. Allah is saying, tell them, give them this news. Who chose, listen to this guys, 139, who chose disbelievers as allies instead of the believers. Can we name some countries now? They can't even agree in ICC, Islamic country, when they have these conferences that Israel is doing something wrong. They don't even agree on it. And their soldiers who are being looked for in the international court, they're hiding in those countries. I cannot mention those countries. They're right there. And they actually put the restriction on Palestinian even to go for the medical treatment. This is what 139 is saying. Who chose disbelievers as allies instead of believers. So in a Super Bowl, they can be sitting in the front row when they are invited, so they can be with them. And you already see them in White House. The first week, you saw several of them there. This is Allah clearly mentioning them. And if you want privately, I can give you the names of those countries. They're right there. As allies instead of the believers, do the seek honor and power through that company? Do the seek? Somehow they will be, oh, wow, you are enlightened. MashaAllah, you are above these fundamentalist, crazy, ignorant Muslims. This is how they want to align themselves to show to the world, we are better. And we can see those countries so clearly in front of us. Surely all honor and power belongs to God. So when you are aligning yourself in the Christmas party, you say, you know what? If I don't go to the Christmas party, I might not get a good project. My boss might not be happy. Now your boss becomes your God. You're worshiping your boss. And Quran mentions that. You worship your own self. So this is what Allah is reminding us, that all powers belongs to God. We worship only one God. So these friendships and allies, somehow they're thinking that somehow they will reach the level. I also want to mention chapter number Surah Al-An'am, which is I know Hamza has memorized it. Chapter number 6, verse number 68. Let me finish one more, then inshallah I'll mention that one. So 140. Verse number 140, then I'll mention chapter number 6. He has already revealed to you in the book that when you hear God's revelations being denied or ridiculed, then do not sit in that company unless they engage in a different topic, or else you will be like them. You're going to find your parents saying horrible things. There's not a single day in the news Bill Maher or some other famous individual saying horrible things about Islam. They say horrible things about the Prophet and Islam. And we are not allowed to sit in that company. It is forbidden on us. Get up and leave. You don't need to debate. You don't need to argue. You don't have the knowledge. Even if you have the knowledge, even if I do, I can debate. I'm going to waste my time because their hearts are sealed. There's nothing you can do to rationalize with them. In chapter number 6, verse number 68, if you want to go to page 70, take a look. I'll read that one for you, and inshallah we'll get there in a few months. Yeah. So Hamza just quietly recited that one. And when you come across those who ridicule our revelations, do not sit with them unless they engage in a different topic. It's a reminder again in the chapter number 6. So it's going to happen to you, inshallah, that you need your faith will be checked. You get up. If you cannot defend yourself, leave that company. If you can defend yourself, make a comment. And sometimes I can tell you, when I graduated with my one of my bachelors, about 23, 25 friends of mine, they took me, they said, we are going to take you for a graduation party. And they said, okay, just come to this address. I went there. They were all waiting, different cars. My brother was also there. And we entered this restaurant. I had no idea about this restaurant. As soon as we entered, I saw a belly dancer, hardly wearing anything and dancing. And I asked my brother, I need a key, I'm leaving. He said, this is your graduation party. I said, I cannot be here. I cannot be part of this nonsense. Guess what? All 23, 25 people left, and we decided to go to a different place. I remember I was for a very high-end corporate training. We were in Navy Pier in Chicago. After 2 months of training, they took us in a boat. And in that boat, there were multiple levels. The boat was like a yacht. And I noticed that as soon as we went there, everybody's drinking and dancing. And I had no idea what to do. The entire process, I fell asleep and I woke up when the boat reached the shore. Imagine in that noise, in that kind of setup, when you have a strong faith, Allah will help you. Allah will guide you. I remember numerous times people went for the food, 15, 20, 30 people in our corporate. Everybody's ordering alcohol. I said, I cannot be part of this sitting. I'm sorry, you can enjoy. I'm going to a different table. Everybody stopped drinking alcohol during my presence. And I was a junior consultant. It is possible. You must learn to take a stand. Be confident who you are. When you trust in God, God is going to be with you. But if you are so weak, then of course people are going to kick you like a soccer ball. So And then I'll end this verse number 140. Unless you will be like them, surely God will gather the hypocrites and disbelievers all together in hell. And remember that hypocrites are the Muslims. And Rasulullah in one hadith sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there are 3 traits of hypocrites. In another hadith, there are 4 traits. I'm going to give you the 3 traits first. Whenever they talk, they lie. That's the first trait of a hypocrite. Whenever you have a trust with them, they break that trust. Whenever they have an argument, they use a foul language. So they will start using F words. They will start using language which you are not used to. So another hadith, they also always break promises. So be careful. You do not have any one of those traits. Otherwise, you'll be 25% hypocrite or 50% hypocrite. So we do not want to do anything. Hypocrites are the worst of the humanity. They'll be worse than non-believers. They are on the worst part of the hellfire, the lowest level of the hellfire. They will never come out. And we have discussed hypocrites in Surah Baqarah in tremendous detail. Also in chapter number 3, we discuss a lot. Verse number 141, the hypocrites are those who wait to see what happens to you. So if God grants you victory, they say to you, were we not on your side? If I win as a believer, they say, oh, I was with you. I was your buddy. Remember, I was on the horse with you. I was next to you. I did this. I was in the same meeting sitting next to you. You remember, it is possible. Can our spouse be hypocrites? Be careful. Be careful how you select your spouse also. I know many of you are single. Be very careful. How do you know somebody's hypocrite or not? Check those 4 things. Are they liars? Are they breaking promises? Look at their language. What kind of language? When you have disagreements, what kind of language they speak? But if the disbelievers have a share of victory, they say to them, did we not have the advantage over you? Yet we protected you from the believers. So they flip-flop. They change sides. God will judge between all of you on the day of judgment, and God will never grant the disbelievers a way over the believers. Ultimately, believers always win. Ultimately, believers in this world and hereafter, they always win. 142, inshallah, in a couple more verses. Surely the hypocrites seek to deceive God, but he outwits them. When they stand for prayer, they do it half-heartedly, only to be seen by people, hardly remembering God at all. So they just want to show off. They just want to show to the public they're praying but it's such a burden on them. Torn between belief and disbelief, belonging neither to these believers nor those disbelievers. And whoever God leaves to stray, you will never find for them a way. O believers, do not take disbelievers as allies. So I'm going to mention this 144. It's going to be on Christian channels and website all the time, because the translation of this word is incorrect. In some Quranic translation, it says, do not take disbelievers as friends. In some places like here, it says allies. Notice the heading on the top. It says unacceptable guardianship. So Allah is telling us the word being used here is awliya, wali. So in fact, it says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la tattakhidhul kafirina awliya. Awliya. What is the wali? Wali is the guardian. It can mean a friend, guardian, protector, ally. It can mean different things in that context. It doesn't mean a friend. Can I have a Christian friend? Absolutely. Can I have a Hindu friend? Absolutely. That's not what is being referred here, but that's what the translation you will see on the internet. Islam is so close-minded, Muslims are so close-minded, it says you cannot take non-believers as friends. That is not true whatsoever. Just want to highlight this, verse 144. You're going to come across later on in the future. Somebody's going to say, see, Quran says you cannot be my friend. That is not true. Here, somebody who can, in the case of attack, for example, you cannot take a non-believer as your protector. You cannot have a guardian as your protector. Who is the guardian in UAE? American forces. In Bahrain, American forces. In Egypt, American forces. In Jordan, American forces. Go on and on and on. That's what Allah is referring here. That is what Allah is referring here. I know I'm recording and I'm going to make it unlisted. So otherwise, I have to go to Dubai to land, to go to Hajj. I will not get a visa. They will catch me over there. They are the most horrible people. Allah is saying, you cannot. Oh, believers. Believers are the people who are bare minimum gonna go to Jannah. These are not the highest level of the Muslim. They're the believers, just basic bare minimum believers. Do not take disbelievers as allies. Instead of the believers, would you like to give God solid proof against yourself? You're giving proof to God against your own self. Last verse, inshallah. Surely the hypocrites will be in the lowest depths of the fire, and you will never find for them any helper. Sadaqallahu Azim. So inshallah, we'll continue this